this lesson, I wanted to do a quick explanation of caged chords. So I don't know if you've ever heard of that before. If you haven't, and if this video is, confusing or something, it's something you can Google or YouTube, and there's tons of information about it. But I don't know. I thought I'd put a video here because it's kind of cool. It's sort of about different ways of voicing chords, and it's based on some super common chord shapes that you probably already know. So caged, C-A-G-E-D, is referring to those five. I had to count the letters for a second, but those 5 letters. So those 5 chord shapes are. So C-A-G-E-D. So you need to know those 5 chords, right? So C chord, A chord, G, E, and D, right? And if you know those chords, this caged chord thing is kind of cool. What you do is like this. So you take your C chord, for example, right? So the way that people would talk about this using the caged chord kind of thing is you would say, I'm playing a C chord and I'm using a C shape, which sounds kind of weird until you learn how to move this C shape, the so-called C shape. So let's figure out how to move this C shape. What I'm doing is I'm playing the 3rd fret on my A string, the 2nd fret on the D string. I'm playing my open G. I'm playing the 1st fret on my B, and I'm playing my open E. So if I add 1 fret to all of those notes that I'm playing, here's what I get. I get 4, 3, 1, 2, 1. So now what they would say in this sort of caged guitar system thing is that I'm playing a C sharp chord or a D flat chord, but I'm using a C shape. So you can voice any major chord using a C shape. So this is C sharp, this is D, this is D sharp or E flat, this is E, F, F sharp, right? Same thing goes for A. So here's an A chord using an A shape, right? If I raise all of those notes by 1 fret, now I'm playing a B flat chord, but I'm using an A shape. So I'm playing my 1st fret, 3rd fret, 3rd fret, and 3rd fret. And that's a B flat chord using an A shape. Here's a B chord using an A shape. Here's a C chord using an A shape, right? The next one is G. This one's really physically awkward. So there's a G chord using a G shape, right? 3, 2, 0, 0, 0, 3. And if I lift everything up by 1 fret, now I'm playing 4, 3, 1, 1, 1, 4. So it's sort of like a really weird chord. But now I'm playing an A flat chord using a G shape. A chord using a G shape. A sharp or B flat chord using a G shape. B chord using a G shape. C chord using a G shape. And we've got E. There's an E chord using an E shape. Now an F chord using an E shape is like this. 1, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1. Right, so that's an F chord using an E shape. F sharp chord using an E shape. G chord using an E shape. And then finally D, and this one's kind of weird too. So there's a D chord using a D shape. If I lift everything up by 1 fret, now I've got on my D string, I have 1, then 3, then 4, and then 3. Now that's a D sharp or an E flat chord, but I'm using a D shape. Right, now here's an E chord using a D shape. Here's an F chord using a D shape. F sharp chord using a D shape. G chord using a D shape. Okay, so now we can play any chord using either a C shape, an A shape, a G shape, an E shape, or a D shape. Cool, right? But the next thing is if you take any chord through the word caged, and I'll explain what I mean by that in a second, then you can get through your whole fretboard playing the same chord. So we'll use C as an example. So I'm going to start with C because it kind of works out kind of well on the guitar. So here's a C chord using a C shape, right? Now, if I play a C chord using an A shape, which is the next letter in the word caged, it's like this. And now if I play a C chord using a G shape, it's like this. C chord using an E shape, it's like this, and C chord using a D shape is like this, and then back to my C chord using a C shape. And they all connect. They all like connect to each other that way. So another example would be like, let's use a G shape, or a G chord using a G shape, right? So here's a G chord using a G shape. So the next letter in the word caged after G is E, right? So here's a G chord using an E shape. It's connected. Here's a G chord using a D shape. Again, connected. G chord using a C shape. G chord using an A shape. And G chord, where are we at? Using a G shape again, way up here. Just like that. You can do it with literally any chord. So let's use, I don't know, D. Let's use D. So here's a D chord using a D shape. Right? Well, the next chord in the word caged, the next letter in the word caged, D is the last letter. So we're just going to repeat it again. So we're going to go back to C. So D chord using a C shape. And it shares notes in common with that last voicing. D chord using an A shape. D chord using a G shape. D chord using an E shape. D chord using a D shape again. And I don't really think it's necessary. Like, for example, D chord using a G shape. That's sort of a ridiculous chord voicing. I would never use that ever. But I might use parts of it. Like, I might use this, which is sort of part of that G shape. But it's not the full thing. The full thing is not really, like, I've never seen anyone just pull that chord out of thin air. But I don't know. It's up to you, right? How valuable you find any of those voicings. So that's the caged guitar system. I hope that was helpful, and thanks for watching.